FPL have added defensive contributions to the game, and it massively changes the way that we should be structuring our squads. Hello and welcome to your FPL one-stop shop. I'm your host Stephen Gallagher, and today I'm going to be analysing how defensive contributions affects budget allocation in FPL. I touched on this idea in my Game Week 1 draft video, but I wanted to expand on it a bit more and show you guys why I think big at the back could well be back. All the analysis in this video is based off the data from Fantasy Football Scout. They've done an amazing job gathering all the data from last season and calculating how many points each player would have scored if Defcon was a thing last season. If you want to see that for yourself, join the members area. There's a link in the description of this video. If you didn't know already, defensive contributions are now rewarded in FPL. Defenders need 10 clearances, blocks, interceptions or tackles combined, and mids and forwards need 12 to get a maximum of 2 points per game. And at first this may sound like a small addition, but across a 38 game season, if a player regularly hits this threshold, they're looking at an extra 20 to 30, maybe even 40 points that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And to put that into perspective, Tarkowski, who would have led the league last season in Defcon points with 44, which when you do the maths is the equivalent of him getting 14 assists. Only Salah got more assists than that last season. So this may just look like an extra 2 points for, getting a few tackles, but over the course of a 38 game season, these points can really add up and make a premium defender really good value. But not all defenders are created equally. Before defensive contributions, the split between top scoring centre backs and fullbacks was basically even. Looking at last season, the top 10 defenders for points, 5 centre backs, 5 fullbacks. In the top 30, there's 14 centre backs and 16 fullbacks. So a nice balance there. Add in the Defcon points they would have earned, and the balance tips heavily towards centre backs. In the top 10, there's 7 centre backs, only 3 fullbacks. And in the top 30, there's now 17 centre backs and 13 fullbacks. So what was previously a fairly even split between centre backs and fullbacks has now, shifted towards centre backs picking up a lot more points on average. Murillo is a great example. He finished 8th amongst defenders last season, but when we add in the 38 Defcon points he would have scored, he jumps up to 2nd overall. Tarkowski is an even more dramatic case, 25th place up to 7th purely from Defcon points. Also Lacroix at Palace, another great example. He would have gained 34 Defcon points last season, which is the equivalent of over 11 assists. This would have brought him up from 20th in points totals for defenders up to 8th. So the conclusion that I draw from this analysis is that we should be picking mainly centre backs in defence over fullbacks if we want a higher guarantee of points. And by going for this strategy, you're definitely playing the long game, raising the floor for points that the defense can give you, as opposed to playing more aggressively, going for more attacking, explosive fullback options, who, if you buy at the right time, based off the fixture schedule, you could hit some very big point holes. And this is definitely a more exciting way of playing FPL, let's be honest, going for those high upside picks. And the one thing I always avoid in my videos is acting like I'm telling you to do something. I prefer to simply present my analysis and show you my conclusions based off what I'm seeing. And in this case, I believe that the optimal play this season will be to base your defense around a few premium defenders that pick up consistent Defcon points. And every now and then, when the fixtures line up, adding in a high upside attacking defender for short periods of time, because if a fullback has a bad game, you're going to come away with 1 or 2 points. But when a Defcon heavy centre back has a quiet match offensively, they can still walk away with 3 or 4 points just from their defensive actions. So this makes centre backs much more set and forget. You're not sweating every week on whether they get an assist or a clean sheet. Ultimately, fullbacks will have a higher ceiling game week to game week from their attacking returns, while centre backs now have a much higher safety net. And in FPL, consistent floors could be the difference between you winning or losing your mini league. So we've established that centre backs with high Defcon points potential are going to be key this season. But the follow-up question is, how does this affect how much we should be investing into the defense compared to in the midfield and attack? Does this mean we go all big at the back? When we look at the point scorers last season, if Defcon was a thing, there's no defenders in the top 11, and in the top 30, only 7 defenders make the list. Midfielders and forwards still very dominant at the top. That's where the hat tricks, the double digit hauls, all your captaincy picks are in around these guys. So based off this, you would say, no, big at the back is not back. But the value per million is where the defenders shine. All the elite mids and forwards cost 7.5, 8 mil, 9 mil, all the way up to Salah at 14 mil. but the most a defender can cost you is 6 mil this season. So when we filter the analysis to only include players worth 6.5 mil or less, and keep in mind there is no 6.5 mil defenders this season, in the top 30, 14 are defenders, 14 are midfielders. So to me that suggests two things. Mid-price forwards that perform well are very rare, and premium defenders now offer more or less the same points as the budget mids at the same price point on average, but 5 of the top 6 are all defenders, so you have maybe a slightly higher chance of picking one that does well if you go for the premium defender. In other words, if you're looking for mid-price players to enable you to go for those more expensive premium attacking options, it's the Defcon heavy defenders that are statistically more likely to hit big than the attackers in and around the same price point. The way I think about it is that if you told me at the start of the season there was a 6 million midfielder that would score 150 or more points, I would think that is absolutely incredible value. But no midfielders priced at 6 mil this season achieved that last season, even if we added Defcon points. On the other hand, 6 defenders priced 6 mil or less this season would have hit that 150 point mark if we added in Defcon points. Obviously, as I said, we saw the top 11 point scorers are all midfielders and forwards, so the majority of our budget should still be going towards these positions in our starting 11s. So here's my conclusion based off my understanding of this analysis. First off, midfield and attack is still the priority for your budget. Premium players like Salah, Haaland, Palmer, Saka, Isak, they're all priced that way because they score the most points. And these are the players that you will be captaining. So you need to squeeze in at least 2 premium attackers in your squad. I think that goes without saying. Secondly, I think 2 premium centre backs is a very good idea. Even 3 and potentially even 4 if you want to play 4 at the back. I could see that working this season, and I've even made a few drafts with 4 at the back in mind. So to give an example of how you could apply this logic to a game week 1 team, this team has Areola and Dubravka in nets, so a 4.5 and a 4 mil keeper, pretty standard. Then 3 premium defenders in Van Dijk and Saliba at 6 mil and Milenkovic at 5.5. Pretty big at the back, at which point you might be thinking, okay, maybe the attack or the bench is very weak, but there's still 3 premium attackers in Salah, Palmer and Watkins, and then 3 semi-premium attackers with Gakpo, Wood and Rodgers. And the bench is somehow okay too. Saliba, first spot on the bench, who I think will be a great pick this season, and he can rotate with Van de Ven or any 4.5 mil defender of your choice. Mark Giu and Esteve finish off the bench as 2 options that will only feature in the case of emergencies. And there you have it, a big at the back team that looks good and doesn't come at the expense of too much of the budget in your attack. I tried to go a bit balanced here. I didn't just want to go 5 premium defenders. I don't think that's particularly realistic. Finding the balance is the tricky thing with FPL as usual and with all game week 1 drafts. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this team. Is this a strategy you guys think will work this season? Is big at the back or even 4 at the back? It may be a wait and see. Again, big shout out to Fantasy Football Scout for running the numbers that make this analysis possible. If you want to become a member, make sure to use the link in the description for a discount, and obviously it supports my channel too. Speaking of, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We're aiming for 10,000 subscribers by the end of the season, so join the community if you haven't already. Until next time guys, have a good one.